All right, joining me now is UFC Flyweight Alex Perez, who is fighting this Saturday against Jussier Formiga at UFC 250. Alex, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. I can't complain.
Awesome to hear. Awesome to hear. I appreciate you taking time out of your fight week to talk to us. And let's talk about what the last couple months has been like for you. You were supposed to fight Kai France, and that fight fell through. So being in that limbo situation where you don't know who you're going to fight or when, you're just kind of waiting around. How did you deal with that?
Just stay training, man. There's really not much you can do. I learned a long time ago you can't really um, worry about the stuff you can't control, and it was something I couldn't control. So I just kind of just kept about my day, man. Just train, ran, try to do everything I could to get workouts in.
For sure. And it's kind of interesting how things played out, right? Because obviously Kai France was a very difficult opponent, but with that matchup not coming together, you actually got an opponent that was higher in the rankings than him. So do you kind of view it that way? Do you think that this is a more challenging matchup for you, a different kind of matchup? Kind of compare the two for me.
Um, like I said before, time and time again, man, the numbers don't really matter next to the name. Eventually, my plan is to be champion. So I'm gonna have to fight everybody in the division, whether I fight Kai Friend now or later. It doesn't matter. So the number doesn't really matter. Um, I mean, stylistically, they're different. Kai's more of a stand-up guy. Jussier is a little bit more, I feel, more well-rounded on the ground. He's good on the feet. He's with a great camp. So, just a little bit more of a challenge. Uh, not taking anything away from Kai. Kai's great at what he does. He has submission victory as well. So he's well-rounded as well. I just feel Jussier has a little bit more experience.
Yeah, for sure. And Formiga has had those, number one contender fights in the past. He's been a guy that's been hanging out at the top of the division for a long time. So I guess that bodes the question, if you go out there and you beat him on Saturday, where do you think that puts you? Do you think that this could elevate you right up there into that number one contender fight type slot?
Yeah, but I mean, there's also guys up there as well. Like you got Pantoja, you got Moreno, you got, those guys, Figueroa, you got Benavidez. I mean, we're still without a champion. So to me, I'm not really worried about what happens. Like I said, when I win this fight, then it's on to the next one, whether it's number one contender or whether I have to fight a few more times to get it. It doesn't matter to me. Just better for me, I guess. I get to rack up more checks.
Yeah, for sure, man. And if I'm a fan, and I sit down on the couch and watch this fight, what am I going to see out of you two? When you play it out in your head, I guess, what are you expecting come Saturday?
I mean, speaking on my half, I'm always looking for the finish, whether it's on the feet, on the ground. So I'm going to be coming forward. I'm going to be, attacking from every which way. I'm not scared to take this guy down. I'm not scared to stand with him. I'm looking for a finish. I'm looking to get another fight of the night performance, make some extra money, and then move on to the next. Hopefully, fight in August.
And I don't know if you had a chance to watch the card this past weekend a couple nights ago, but the small cage seemed to kind of come into play in a lot of these fights, and especially the flyweights. I mean, the Tim Elliott, Brandon Royval fight was like, they're bouncing off the sides of the cages and everything. And for you, do you think that will make a difference at all, having that 25-foot cage, or is that something you don't really want to think about going into this, or put too much weight into going into this?
I'm not thinking about it too much. Good thing that Team Oyama, we actually have a small cage, smaller than the one that we're fighting in. So I've been in small cages. I know how to work them. But it's just like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's a big cage, small cage. It's still a fight. Whether it helps me or against me, we'll see what happens. But I think it favors me.
Yeah, and talking about the flyweight division, there's obviously recently the news broke that there's going to be a rematch for the vacant flyweight title. Figueiredo is going to fight Benavidez again. Did you like that decision? Were you okay with Benavidez getting another title shot?
I mean, personally, I didn't think he deserved it. He did get knocked out. I mean, yeah, it was clash of heads, but he's the one that caused the clash of heads. He did it. He does it to everybody. He leans with his head. I'm not saying he does it on purpose. It's just the way he strikes. He leans with his head forward. I felt like he didn't deserve it. I felt like Figueroa should have lost it. I honestly think it should have been maybe Pantoja and Brandon, and then had Figueroa and just Benavidez fight for number one contender spot and go on from there. But to me, it doesn't really matter. I'm not there. It's not on my part of the division. So not too much thought into it.
Yeah, and going along with that, obviously the belt is vacant. It's been vacant for a little while now, but do you kind of like that there is? Do you feel like it's opened up the division a little bit more for some fresh matchups? You know, with the new guy holding the belt eventually, I think it bodes well for a lot more movement in the division. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, even if Henry was still champion, there's still a lot of guys he didn't fight. Guys that
Right.
like, you got Figueroa, you got Jussier. They fought once. You could have had a rematch with Benavidez, beat him. I mean, the list goes on and on. The guys that are coming up, myself, Kai, all the young guys in the division, I think would make exciting fights with Cejudo or whoever's the champion now. I felt like there was always good energy in the division, and now that Henry's gone, I guess it's more eyes on it now.
And do you have any sense of relief now that the UFC flyweight division does seem like it's sticking around? I mean, for a while they were cutting people, and then it seemed like at least they were keeping the fighters on the roster who were there, and now they're signing people. There's been a handful of new flyweight signings. So, as a flyweight fighter, how much of a relief is that for you, knowing that this division, you won't have to move up to bantamweight, that you can stick down here?
To me, like I'm a bigger 25er, so at 35s, I think I'll do fine. So to me, like I was happy that if they were to cut the division, I had a job. It sucked to see people lose their job just because they're cutting the division, but I'm glad they're keeping it around. I'm happy people getting jobs. It's all about making money. I don't do this sport to like hate people. I've never gone to a fight with bad intentions, like, oh, I hate this guy to fight him. Hey, everybody needs to make money. Everybody needs to get paid. I'm just glad there's more people now in the UFC that are getting paid.
For sure, man. And my last question for you: any type of prediction for Saturday? How do you think you get it done?
Oh man, I'm gonna get the win. To me, like I said, I'm looking for the finish, but I'm ready to go 15 minutes. I've trained with some of the best guys in the world, some of the guys that you guys know, some of the guys that you guys have never heard of. Those guys push me every day, and I know I'm ready for this fight. I know I'm ready to win. I know I'm ready to get the next one in. But first is first. I gotta take care of Jussier this Saturday.